So recently I did an overview and a range review of the Smith & Wesson folding pistol carbine, FPC. And in that video I kind of hinted that I might do one of the KelTec Sub 2000, which is another folding pistol caliber carbine, or FPC, or PCC, or FPCC, depending on how many letters you want to use. So I kind of wanted to do that overview today and a range review, and then also during the shooting I was going to shoot groups with this and then shoot groups with the Glock 17. They take the same magazines. They're both 17 round capacity Glock magazines. This happens to be a PMag that the KelTec comes with. So let's start out with the review on some of the things I do like about this pistol caliber carbine and some things that I don't like about this. So we'll start at the muzzle. So it has a threaded barrel protector, right, and threaded muzzle, so that you can put on a brake or a suppressor. It also has fixed sights. With these sights, they're adjustable for both elevation and windage, which is one of the things that I don't like about it. This sight is really hard to adjust. I've been fiddling with it now for about 30 minutes trying to make sure that it was sighted in. This is your windage, and there's a little button here that you push so that you can turn it. And then inside here, to adjust your elevation, you actually have to push this plunger and then rotate it. You can rotate it with a tool that wasn't included when I bought this rifle, at least. Or what I did is I took a Leatherman and I took the small screwdriver end that you would use for like fixing your watches, and I pushed the plunger down, and then I took another one of the bit drivers out of the Leatherman and I used it to turn the wheel inside with the plunger push. So that's also a bit of a pain in the butt to get to work correctly. Has plastic rear sight, it's a peep sight. Has a Picatinny rail on the top that goes about this far. Has one on the bottom as well, so you could put an optic on the top, or you could put a light on the bottom or a light on the bottom, which would be interesting if you put an optic on the top. The way this folds, let's go ahead and get that out of the way. You push this down, the trigger guard, and you fold it over top. So while I like the way this stores better than the Smith & Wesson, with it folded like this, you really can't keep your optic on unless you get this aftermarket attachment. And what that attachment does, and to unlock it, you pull this back, and then you flip it forward. And what that attachment does is it hooks right here, and it flips your optic out of the way so that you can fold it, and the optic will move out of the way, and then the optic slides back over the top when you unfold the carbine. Like I said, it holds, this is the Glock version, so it holds Glock 17 mags, and this is a PMag that comes with it. It actually is in the regular Glock 17 mag, which is, so there's no, you can't see the rounds inside. You can't see the rounds inside like you can on a regular Glock 17 magazine. And from what I can see, there's no metal inside of the PMag. I don't see it, at least, whereas you can see the metal inside of the Glock magazine. But any of these magazines will fit. So regular Glock 17 magazines, if you have those, they fit just fine. The charging handle is back here, and it does reciprocate. It has an adjustable length of pull, a little bit at least. You have 3 settings here that you can adjust your length of pull. I like the way this gun looks. It's not, I don't feel like it's made as well. The barrel's not free floated. If you look inside, it doesn't look like it is, at least. Every M-lock link here along the rail has a, just like with the other one, it has a piece of plastic that looks like it's probably touching the barrel. So it's not a free floated barrel. It is 9mm. They make one of these that takes other magazines besides Glock magazines. You can get it in multi-magazine type, where you can switch the magazine release and it'll hold different types of magazines. But I have a bunch of Glock magazines, so that's why I got it with the Glock magazine setup, right? The charging handle actually reciprocates when you're firing it, which I don't care for that too much, but I haven't found that to be a problem. It doesn't hit me, but I wouldn't want to give this to a littler shooter or somebody that's having problems with the grip because maybe their arm's in the way. The other thing is there's no last round hold open. To hold the slide open, you actually pull this back and sideways, and that holds it open. There's no last round bolt hold open. There is a cross bolt safety right here, cross trigger safety, which is easier to actuate, actually, to me at least, than the M&P, because it's in the same general location that your safety would be for an AR. So off safety with your thumb, and then whereas you would put your AR, you just flip your AR with your thumb as well. You can just push with your index finger to put it back on safety. It's got a, I mean, that's just a basic, it's a basic firearm. There's not a whole lot to it. Just like the M&P, the more you shoot it, this thread protector comes loose, so make sure you're always tightening this back up. I don't have an optic on this, partially because this is incredibly light. This is much lighter than the Smith & Wesson, which is one of the things that I really do like, is the weight of this gun and the balance. This gun's just really well balanced and really light. Magazine release is pretty easy to hit. It is reversible, I think, although I haven't taken it. Nope, it's not reversible. It's not reversible. So anyway, the magazine release is really easy to actuate with your thumb. Folds up really easy. Unfolds really easy. Incredibly light. I love the way this looks, and it feels really good in the hand because it's not super fat up here. Overall, I don't feel the trigger. Let's talk about the trigger. Okay. This trigger is a lot heavier than the M&P trigger. Here's the wall. That was all creep. Still creep. And there it went off. I've seen some things where it says, and here's the reset. Pretty long reset. A lot of creep going back through the wall, going back through again for the next round. So this trigger, I've seen some things where it says this is a 9-pound trigger. I took my son out shooting this, and he actually didn't like to pull the trigger on this one as much. It was a little more of a struggle for him to keep the gun steady than when we went and shot the M&P, which has a loads better trigger. And so this is more along the lines of a gun that, you know, a larger person or a stronger person would use because the trigger's so heavy. Also, because of where this is, racking this with your left hand, while it's possible, right, it's not easy if you're wearing, for instance, and I'll probably show you this when I'm shooting, I'll put on my bino harness where I have my binoculars and my rangefinder, right, and this gets in the way when you swing it to charge it, unless you go way out in front of you, right, it gets in the way. So that's another problem. Charging this with your left hand to where you don't take your hand off the trigger guard, the controls, is a little bit more difficult. So whereas the M&P is an AR charging style handle, really easy to charge. So that was something else. So now, not to make this video too long, because this is a basic pistol caliber carbine like almost all the other pistol caliber carbines. There's nothing really special about this other than it's incredibly light, and it takes Glock magazines, which that's awesome. It does have some M-lock attachments and enough Picatinny rail on top and bottom to hook your lights and lasers and an optic if you wanted. This does come off if you really wanted to remove this, and you can take this sight out too. If you're going to put an optic on it, you could remove these sights. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and shoot a couple of groups with this, and then shoot a couple of groups with the Gen 5 Glock 17. Hold the same. They hold the same amount of rounds, right? And they also take those extended Glock magazines, so the 32 or 33 round magazines, right? They'll take those as well. But I want you to see how much more accurate it is to shoot at, let's say, 10 or 15 yards with this versus the same 10 or 15 yards with a handgun. All right, so hold on for a second while I get the target set up and the camera set up on the range. Okay, we're back at 12 yards. I'm sorry that I'm not giving this rifle a rave review. I want to give it a good review. It's made in Florida, so I'm partial to that, right? And then I love the way it feels. I like the looks of it a lot. It's very light. It's just got some problems that I'm having a hard time getting over. Like, I really don't like this sight and the way that it's adjusted. It feels overly clunky. I don't necessarily like this plastic peep sight on the back. And to be honest, I haven't shot this rifle a whole lot, and I already feel like there's some pieces on it that are loose. Some plastic pieces that may not be hooked together correctly. I'm going to give this a once over when I get home, and then probably if I call KelTec support, I'll let everybody know how their support was. Also, I don't like this reciprocating charging handle. I don't like where it's at, really. But I can get over that piece. That's okay. The trigger is not spectacular. I can get over that as well, I suppose. But the craftsmanship, it's like a great idea, not well done. You know, like, this is a great concept. If this was built with quality, better quality, I think, better sights, a little bit better quality on this grip here. This feels like it may be coming loose. I don't know. I'd give it a better review, but there's just quality issues on this, and that kind of is, it's a little upsetting. So anyway, I put my bino harness on with my binoculars and rangefinder in it, so where you could see how, like, if you were to charge it, it kind of gets in the way. You have to go way out in front of you to charge it. So that's a issue as well for me. But so now I'm going to go ahead and shoot some groups. Like I said, I'm at 12 yards, and I'll shoot some groups with this first, and then I'll shoot some groups with the Glock 19. And you'll see that most likely, and it should be, a pistol caliber carbine with a better stock, more contact points, will be way more accurate than a handgun. But how long is this going to stay running? This Glock 19 or Glock 17 is going to be running when I'm no longer here and pass it on to my son, right? So, okay, the top left target now with the KelTec Sub 2000. Okay, that was the top left target with the KelTec Sub 2000, 5 shots. Okay, I'm going to do 5 more rounds with the KelTec Sub 2000. So I put up a new target, and now I'm going to shoot 2 groups with the Glock 17. I'm going to shoot at the middle because I expect these groups to be at this distance much larger than the groups from the pistol caliber carbine. Okay, same distance. So that was all 10, so that was basically 2 groups of 5. Figured I wouldn't stop. Video's getting long enough as it is. So as you can see, the groups from the G19 or G17 were way wider than the groups from the Sub 2000 because it's a rifle. It's got a 16-inch barrel on it and multiple contact points. It's much more easier to aim at this distance. In fact, the group that I just shot, the 2 groups that I just shot with this handgun, that's the group, give or take, the group that I get at 25 or 30 yards plus, 25 or 30 yards with the Sub 2000. So double the distance and the groups turn out to be like that, whereas with the handgun, groups are a little wider. Anyway, if you like these kind of overviews and reviews, tests, please like and subscribe to my channel. It helps get 2A content out to people I think that probably don't see much 2A content in their feeds. In fact, you should probably subscribe to every 2A type channel that you see because that helps to boost that type of content for people. And we want as many people exposed to the Second Amendment and the people that are the responsible, good people that are behind the Second Amendment or support the Second Amendment like we are, right? We want them to see that we're not bad people and that we do support, that we're basically supporting freedom. So anyway, like and subscribe to my channel and have a good day. Thanks.